All right, it's 6 o'clock. December 15th, 2025, village board meeting. The Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I get a roll call?
Mayor Deal.
Here.
Trustee Bowden.
Here.
Trustee Hudson.
Here.
Trustee Richards.
Here.
Trustee Sandberg.
Here.
Trustee Sluse.
Here.
Trustee Sturba.
Here. Do you have any public comments? All right, so we are going to modify this a little bit and jump right to new business. Item G, we're going to approve the hiring of new part-time police officer Oscar Galaraza. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion Sluse, second
Motion Richards. Richards.
Richards, okay.
Second Sturba.
Yes.
Trustee Hudson.
Yes.
Trustee Richards.
Yes.
Trustee Sandberg.
Yes.
Trustee Sluse.
Yes.
Trustee Sturba.
Yes.
Trustee Bowden.
Yes.
On to item H. That's what this is.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
And administer the oath of office.
We administer the oath of office to the new part-time police officer, Oscar Galaraza.
Yeah, go in all the way up there with the TV. Not right, man. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I state your name.
I, Oscar Galarza,
Having been appointed to the position
having been appointed to the position
of a police officer for the village of Peatone,
of a police officer for the village of Peatone,
county of Will,
county of Will,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Illinois compiled statutes,
the Illinois compiled statutes,
and the laws and ethics pertaining to municipalities,
and the law and ethics pertaining to municipalities,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge of the duties
of the office of the Village of Peatone Police Department
of the office of the Village of Peatone Police Department
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities. Thank you, ma'am.
I'm going to have you sign.
Yes, ma'am. And he's gonna have, one of our, part-time officers, Jeff Chudwin, pin the badge on for him for you.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks. Congratulations.
Welcome. Thank you, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
This one you last. Yeah.
I thought it was just me and my strong out.
Thank you, guys.
Right. No, it's definitely the opposite.
All right, jumping back to the consent agenda, we're going to approve the minutes of the November 17th, 2025 regular village board meeting. Approve payroll and accounts payable. For the payroll for the period ending 11/22/25, for a total of $74,897.82. The police holiday payout for the period ending December 6th, 2025 for $22,870.28. And for the period ending also 12/6 of 2025 of $80,077.63. Accounts payable for the period ending December 12th, 2025 for the general fund is $209,745.71. Building permit escrow fund, $5,200. Motor fuel tax fund, $4,600.53. Capital improvement fund, $11,653.97. Business development district fund, $1,138 even. And the TIF 2 fund, $888 even, for a total of $233,226.21. Approve a raffle license for the Peatone School District 207U, 5 or more raffles per calendar year. Approve the village board meeting, regular board meeting schedule for 2026. And approve the designation of myself, Chris Vio, as a representative for the village of Peatone, and Nick Palmer as the alternative for the SSMA Environmental Justice Committee. If you have any questions about this. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion Sluse, second Sturba.
Trustee Bowden?
Yes.
Trustee Hudson?
Yes.
Trustee Richards?
Yes.
Trustee Sanford?
Yes.
Trustee Sluse?
Yes.
Trustee Sturba?
Yes.
Moving on to staff and committee reports. We'll start with Troy.
Yep, just one thing, we submitted for federal funding for the West Street reconstruction project from Wilmington Peatone Road to Corning Avenue. So it's not something that's gonna happen soon, but Will County Governmental League said the earliest for construction funding is probably 2029. So hopefully we'll get programmed in this time.
Okay. Jump over to Chief.
I don't have that much besides what I wrote. Just by the end of this week, I hope to finish the grant for body cameras and in-car cameras. Like I said before, to help pay for what we have, that'd be about $125,000. So that's trying to get that finished. I sent some stuff to Nick. I'm gonna talk about with that, and then try to get that finished this week. If you don't have any questions about the other stuff I have.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bob?
Few things. Snow. We've had lots of it. We've had some breakdowns, but we made it through this snow season so far. There's been a lot of questions about leaf collection. That is to be determined. Even with the warm-up, we're going to have some piles are going to have to thaw. So, at a later date, I'll give you a date. The sidewalk program was completed. Excuse me. Tree City, I do it every year. I applied for that, so we'll see if we get that again. It'll be the 9th year for that. Parkway tree trimming. Once we clean up all our vehicles that are absolutely filthy, and our shop that's absolutely filthy from the slop from the trucks melting in there, and we'll get out and do some parkway tree trimming. It's a good time to do that. With no leaves on the trees, you get to actually see what's out there. That's a hazard. Like I said in my report, we'll do some general cleaning, organize the shop, because like I said, right now it's a mess. And then for this year's winter project, which I try to do every year, I think well, once we're done with it, hopefully. I think we're gonna repaint our leaf machine and maybe name it something. So,
Leave
we'll,
together.
we'll put something out there, maybe the residents can name it or something.
There you go.
Not a bad idea, so, that's what I got.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Todd.
Thank you.
Great job on clearing the streets.
Thank you.
All right, Nick.
I'm gonna be brief. I mean, we had 2 committee meetings, which we may hear some reports from the committee chairs, but a lot of work with Anne Marie getting ready to just officially start the budget process tonight. The mayor and I are continuing to work on some economic development. Infrastructure is always a big part of that, as far as getting access to properties and things like that. So we have the one property right along Wilmington Peatone Road, and the mayor and I are gonna meet with the county executive tomorrow and her staff to talk about that, since that's a county road. And we continue to work on trying to move forward with annexation to expand the village's boundaries. That's just good for future development, but also for protecting the immediate area around our boundaries, so we can decide here what's best for the development. And then attended a few meetings lately, the Will County Center for Economic Development, which is the county organization. Lots of things happening in Will County, a lot of housing starts. And as chance be it, that today I got a call from somebody who's looking for properties to build here in Peatone, so that's a good sign. So lots of things happening. The agenda's a lot of what I've been spending my time on, so let's get on to that, so. Thank you.
And as far as the ALC meeting with Gary or Todd, either one of you like to talk about what we did with the ALC?
Yeah, AOC met on December 8th at 4 o'clock, and most of the items that we talked about are on tonight's agenda. But just to go over them, we reviewed levying and assessing of the 2025 taxes, reviewed an investment policy for the village of Peatone going forward, discussed and looked at our current investment fund balances, and went over some options and some things maybe we could do to move things around and clean that up a little bit. Reviewed the Illinois Municipal Insurance Cooperative renewal. Got into a little bit of discussion about the upcoming budget process, and that'll be kicking off here pretty soon. That's it.
Very good. All right, we'll move on to item I, approve the payout. Number 4, the partial to Iroquois Paving Corporation in the amount of $8,830.08 for work completed on the Conrad Storm Sewer Project. Do you have any questions about that? Did I jump over that?
Your comments and
Okay.
questions.
I did, didn't I? All right, let's backpedal. We do have a few comments from me. Surprised I jumped over those. First of all, I want to shout out to the Christmas in the Village Committee and all the businesses that helped out in the village Christmas parade and downtown. It was amazing. I hope you all were able to make it and enjoy some time out there. It was fantastic, I believe. I do have a personal letter from Bev Schwartz. She is with the Hope for the Day Foundation. It says, "Dear Peatone, I wanted to personally thank you for adopting the National Suicide Prevention and Action Month proclamation by openly and honestly talking about the mental health. For helping break the stigma that keeps folks from seeking help. Although you might not see it right away, you're helping save lives. See you in 26, Bev Schwartz." We do have a little announcement here. Early in 2025, Nick was contacted by a representative of ESP Solar regarding a project near Peatone. This project is northeast of Peatone. It's not in Peatone. It's located near Eagle Lake Road and Egyptian Trail. It is the first project approved by Will County in May of 2025. It has been reviewed and approved. Proposed to be a 2-megawatt AC solar project. And the property, just as information, the property is owned by Helen Strumbus Trust. It's not in the Peatone boundaries, but within our general planning area. The big news is from that, is that they were going to give the village of Peatone $100,000. They will pay that in 50% at the financial close of the project and 50% at the beginning of operations. Nick and I had discussed this for a while, and we believe, I strongly believe, that I recommend putting this donation toward the Peatone windmill.
Do you need a motion for that?
It's not on the agenda, so, but we just wanted to let you know about it, and then we could do this through the budget process or put it on the future agenda, so discuss it.
That's fantastic.
The board will consider this as we move forward with the budget process. And just a little background information, ESP Solar LLC is a family-owned business that is dedicated team of in-house professional engineers and extensive expertise in utility scale solar development and construction. We are proud to be at the forefront of the solar energy movement in Illinois. Our mission, this is them. Our mission is to develop and operate renewable power facilities that benefit local communities. We are committed to providing pathways for low-income communities, households to adopt and benefit from clean energy solutions, ensuring equitable access to sustainable power. Now we will jump ahead to go back, old business. To approve a new home occupation permit for Bingo J Transportation, Limited Liability Company, Jaya Yan, 532 Howard Street, Unit 1, Peatone. It was tabled from the last board meeting.
Take it off the table, yeah.
Do we have any questions on that?
Mayor, I think proper, it was on the table, so we should make a motion to remove
Take it off the
take it off the table and consider it official.
Okay, so we need a motion to take that off the table since it was tabled last time.
Motion. Second.
Motion Sluse, and second Richards. Yeah, go ahead.
So this item, as you recall, last meeting, we had some discussion, and it was probably a little premature to have the discussion, so there were a lot of questions. We had the applicant here, so the direction from the board was for me to go back and meet with the applicant, get a little more information, bring it back to you. So in the packet, there is a board memo, but just high-level summary. These, both business registration and home occupation permits come to the board. It's not necessarily required by our process, but we do it, I think, probably just to be open, transparent, let people know about it. So when I met with this applicant, they are, it would appear, they're trying to do everything by the books, by coming to us. They have secured an EIN number, employee identification number with the IRS. They have secured a limited liability registration with the Illinois Secretary of State, so they have all their paperwork on that. I think our challenge last time was a little bit of the communication, because the gentleman who was here didn't speak as well English. His English wasn't as well. I'm not very good either. But his fiancée was much better, and when I had the opportunity to talk to both of them, she was able to explain what they're trying to do. This is a startup business for them. They are just at the early stages, but they're getting all their paperwork in order. The gentleman who was here already lives here in Peatone. His fiancée is intending to move here very soon, and they're planning to get married in 2026 for what it's worth. But they understand, and I was very clear with them, this is a residential home occupation. As they said at the meeting, but I don't know if it was clear, no trucks are coming to the house, no customers are coming to the house. So for their neighbors, they virtually wouldn't know they were running a business, except that they are registering with the village. It's all gonna be computer, phone, and that's it. So, and they assured me of that. And I think it was a little unclear when we were talking last time, and again, I attribute this maybe some to the communication, is that they are very early in this process, but they understand that that's not allowed there, and if they were to get to the point where they needed that, they would have to go to a commercial space. So having that, there's no other real obligations they have, so I would recommend approving this based on that. So I guess if there's any questions.
They have done everything that the village asks them to do as far as what they're doing, registering their business, registering the home occupation. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't approve it. Any other questions, comments? Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion Sluse, second Sturba.
Trustee Bowden?
Yes.
Trustee Hudson?
Yes.
Trustee Richards?
Yes.
Trustee Sandberg?
Yes.
Trustee Sluse?
Yes.
Trustee Sturba?
Yes.
Now we'll jump back to item I, approve the payout number 4 partial to Iroquois Paving Company in the amount of $830.08 for the work completed on the Conrad Storm Sewer Project. Any questions? I have a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Motion Sluse, second Sturba.
Trustee Richards?
Yes.
Trustee Sandberg?
Yes.
Trustee Sluse?
Yes.
Trustee Sturba?
Yes.
Trustee Bowden?
Yes.
Trustee Hudson?
Yes.
Item J, to approve a new business registration for the UPS store, Sioux Hospital, 601 South 88th Avenue in Peatone. It's on the second floor of the Travel Center. Any questions about that?
We'll get, what, sales tax out of that?
Should, yeah,
It's a nice convenience for residents.
yeah.
What I'm told is the nearest is Frankfurt or I think
Bourbonnais.
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 So, yeah, so
Yeah,
this is
that's
good.
nice.
Keeps them.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Motion Hudson, second Sluse.
Trustee Sandberg?
Yes.
Trustee Sluse?
Yes.
Trustee Sturba?
Yes.
Trustee Bowden?
Yes.
Trustee Hudson?
Yes.
Trustee Richards?
Yes.
All right, for item K is a ordinance 25-11, approve an ordinance for levying and assessing of the 2025 taxes for the village of Peatone in Will County. And I believe Anne Marie is gonna explain that a little bit.
Hello, so this is the village's 2025 levy that's going to be paid by taxpayers in 2026 and collected by the village in fiscal year 2027. So it crosses multiple years. Village is restricted as a home rule, as a non-home rule community to increasing their levy by 5% or less, or they have to have a truth in taxation hearing, and also by various rate limits that as a home rule municipality we have to adhere to. So this year's levy is $715,751. That is 5% more than the prior year extension, not necessarily the levy, but the prior year extension. It's broken down into multiple categories, which you can see on the agenda item. Most of the categories are tied to a specific expenditure, such as IMRF, Social Security, the audit. The police pension portion of the levy is 1/2 of our minimum required contribution to the police pension fund, and that's historically how the village has done the levy. Our rate should go down a little bit as compared to the prior year based upon estimated EAVs, equalized assessed valuation. We won't know that for sure until sometime next spring, but it should go down, and what that means is while our levy went up, the average taxpayer is going to pay a little bit less to the village when you look at their total tax bill. So that's always something good, you always want the EAV to be going up. So I don't know if anybody has any questions. The ordinance is on the agenda tonight. After the ordinance is passed, Stacy will get all the signatures, we'll file it with Will County by the last Tuesday of December, and then they'll process the levy through next spring. Questions?
All right, any questions for Anne Marie? Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion Sluse, second Sturba.
Trustee Sluse?
Yes.
Trustee Sturba?
Yes.
Trustee Bowden?
Yes.
Trustee Hudson?
Yes.
Trustee Richards?
Yes.
Trustee Sandberg?
Yes.
Item L, this will be resolution 25-R-28. Approve a resolution allocating 2025 tax levy to the individual funds of the village property tax extension limitation law as amended. And Anne Marie will explain that a little bit.
So this is really just kind of an add-on to the ordinance. So in the ordinance, we have multiple categories that we're levying for, and this resolution kind of gives the authority to levy for those individual categories.
Any questions for Anne Marie? Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion Sluse, second Sturba.
Trustee Sturba?
Yes.
Trustee Bowden?
Yes.
Trustee Hudson?
Yes.
Trustee Richards?
Yes.
Trustee Sandberg?
Yes.
Trustee Sluse?
Yes.
On to item M, to approve an ordinance, the ordinance number 25-12. Approve the ordinance abating taxes levied for the year 2025 to pay debt service and on general obligation bonds, series 2022 of the Village of Peatone, Will County, Illinois. And Anne Marie, back to you.
So this is an abatement ordinance. The village issued bonds to partially fund the I-57 Wilmington Peatone Road project. We have to pay these bonds back over the next 20 years. They issued them as general obligation bonds, which means the full faith and credit of the village backs those bonds. But we do use an alternative revenue source to make the payments on them, and we're using TIF funds, TIF increment funds that come in to make those bond payments. So we don't need to levy for them. So this abatement ordinance kind of wiped out the levy.
Any questions for Anne Marie? Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion Sluse, second Sturba.
Trustee Bowden?
Yes.
Trustee Hudson?
Yes.
Trustee Richards?
Yes.
Trustee Sandberg?
Yes.
Trustee Sluse?
Yes.
Trustee Sturba?
Yes.
Item N is the fiscal year 2027 budget kickoff presentation. This is back to Anne Marie.
You wanna say anything first?
No.
Just go?
Go, go, go.
Okay, so it's that time of the year again, kind of crazy. I feel like we just got done with last year's budget. So we're just gonna kind of go through where we are for fiscal year 26 as of November 30th. The slides up on the screen, and I think they've shared a copy out to all of you. So just really quick, general fund revenues through November 30th, you can kind of see on the chart. Budget of 4.4 million, we've collected about 3 million. The tax category reflects all of the state taxes that we collect, sales tax, use tax, income tax, PPRT. Just some highlights, our hotel tax budget is 37.5, and we've almost collected that amount through 6 months, so that's always nice to see. The other income category includes our investment income, which we budgeted 325 and we've collected 297,000 already, so that's another good sign that our investments are yielding some pretty nice returns for us. And then the travel center, fuel and truck, these are small revenue items, but they're kind of ones that we're seeing trend a lot higher than we thought they would. We're at about 38,000 of the $51,000 budget, so I'm thinking with all of those budget, or all those items that I kind of highlighted, that we're gonna come in over budget for the year, which that's always nice to have your revenue come in higher than budgeted. The next slide just kind of breaks down your or the village's tax revenues for the fiscal year so far. You can see our property tax, we pretty much have collected the entire levy. We usually collect most of it, or part of it in June, and then the majority of it comes in September. There's a couple distributions that might come in November and December, but that's usually small amounts. Sales, use, and cannabis are always 3 months behind, so we haven't collected 8 months of the fiscal year, we've only collected 5. But through this first 8 months, we're at about 47% of our budget, which is okay. November and December are always the biggest sales tax months, and we won't collect those until next February and March. So the fact that we're not quite at that 50% really isn't that big of a deal. Income and utility taxes are 1 month in arrears. Income tax to date is about 63% and utilities about 62%. So I think maybe we might come in about at budget or a little bit over on those revenues too for the fiscal year. I always like to provide this chart. I think it's kind of a cool picture of where the majority of our, where our sales tax comes from, which is a significant revenue source of our general fund. So obviously, we've got the car dealerships, that's where the majority of our sales tax is going to come from, but then you can kind of see the breakdown of the other categories. I think the food and drink and obviously the drugs and miscellaneous are obviously the largest. I think those might change a little with the whole grocery tax thing, we'll see what happens, but, that's where they were for calendar year 2024. The state's always behind in producing that info. Expenditures to date in the general fund through November, once again, we budgeted 4.3, we're at about 3.5. That does include the transfer to the BDD fund that we ended up not having to do last year because there was enough cash in the fund. But we did do that transfer this year. All of the departments are pretty much within budget, they're not, over where they should be for the year. And then our personnel costs are about 63% of our general fund recurring operating budget, so those are kind of seen evenly throughout the year. There's some big spending maybe in public works that happens in the warmer weather versus the colder weather. But like I said, all of the departments to date are running at or under budget. Just a couple other funds highlight, motor fuel tax, we collected about 68% of what we budgeted, which is good. Motor fuel tax is something we use to fund capital projects, so that's an important revenue source for us. This year we use the motor fuel tax for the Crawford Street paving project. I always get Crawford and Conrad confused for that project, so we transferred money out of that fund over to the CIP fund to pay for that. BDD fund, we're at about 64% of our budgeted amount, which is good. We get that 1% BDD tax that goes directly into the fund. And then expenditures to date are about $736,300 of that paid back the general fund for the loan that it made to the BDD fund for the downtown project. I know it all kind of gets confusing, moving back and forth. But the majority of the spending this year was for that, to close out the downtown development project. CIP fund revenues come from motor fuel and building permit fees. We really didn't have any significant other revenue sources in the CIP fund this year. We do have some miscellaneous reimbursements that come through for West Street that are processed through Robinson Engineering, but those are pretty insignificant. And then the largest item budgeted in this fund was the Conrad Street storm sewer. TIP 1 and 2 revenues are consistent with what we budgeted. We get most of our revenues in those funds either from interest earnings or from the incremental property taxes. And then expenditures to date in TIP 2 was to just close out the 88th Avenue project. The next page is just our tentative proposed budget schedule, obviously subject to change based upon board availability. Tonight's the kickoff meeting. In January, the departments need to turn their budget documents into myself and Nick so that we can review them. We'll have the capital meeting in January, at the end of January, and that same night, Nick will work with the board on salary increases for fiscal year 2027. February 20th, we're gonna give you the whole budget book for review. We'll have our AOC meeting on February 24th. And then the final budget will go to the board on March 9th for consideration, and then it'll be formally approved by ordinance on March 23rd. Then, so just kind of budget planning, I always like to kind of talk about where we are fund balance wise. It's the board's policy to keep 30% of our ensuing years, and that's spelled wrong, ensuing years expenditure budget in reserves. We are well above that, which is absolutely fine. Doesn't mean we have to touch it, doesn't mean we have to spend it. It's good to have it in the bank. I had said the proposed budget for 27 will include an additional transfer out of BDD back to the general fund, which will hopefully bolster our fund balance a little bit more. We don't have any significant changes in revenue sources for fiscal year 2027. We have the grocery tax ordinance going into place, but we're gonna see a decline in sales tax and an increase in the grocery tax, so they hopefully are gonna wipe each other out, or maybe we'll get a little bit more, who knows. We're hoping that the travel center revenues continue to increase, and our liquor licenses go up 3% every year, so we always factor that into the budget. not a significant source, but something that increases every year. Just to kind of wrap up, we will once again submit our budget document to GFOA for the Distinguished Budget Award. That happens 2 to 3 months after the budget's passed. We get the book together and we submit it. And then just, if the board has any feedback, if there's anything specific you want to kind of talk through tonight or mention that you absolutely want to see in the budget, kind of give Nick and I some guidelines on what you'd like to see included. And then, like I said, our next meeting will be on January 20th to go over capital. Any questions?
Questions for Anne Marie?
Thank you, Anne Marie.
Thank you.
So one thing I just want to mention, I mean, we talked about this at AOC and I think a little bit of Public Works. I mean, I think this is a great starting point. We want to review our revenues. And Anne Marie and I talked about this. I mean, we have no new revenues per se, but I think it's a good time, annual budget, just to review our fees and things like that, because some communities decide to have 100% recovery of costs. Some, because you might want to incentivize, say, development, so you might, in effect, subsidize some of those fees. But I think it's a good time to review those and just make sure the village isn't unknowingly subsidizing work by not charging the full recovery, if that's our policy. The other thing, I know I get this question a lot, is how much does the travel center and the hotel actually generate? Some of those numbers are in here, but Anne Marie and I have been talking about what those trends are, and also our outside consultants had done an initial projection before everything opened, so those were kind of without any basis of actual numbers. So now that we've got some time frame in that, taking those numbers and redoing that projection just to see long-term what the revenue is from that, because I think that's just good information for all of you to know, and so a resident says, how much does that place actually generate? It's a significant amount of money, but as we get new development, hopefully we can replicate that, because that revenue from other sources other than property tax is a good thing for our local residents. So I think that's, and the other thing we talked about at both committees was the capital improvement plan. We have a plan, but I think revisiting those numbers to make sure they're accurate and current. Are there other projects we'd like to consider? And at the end of the day, we have more needs or wants than we have revenue for, so we're gonna have to go through that as a board, and you all, I mean, we're gonna present you the facts with the department heads and then decide what's the priority and what projects we wanna get done, because the biggest thing is like the road projects. You know, we had some big projects this past year, the Conrad and the Crawford. We don't have those big grant dollars, so what projects can we squeeze out of our budget and planning for the future? So all that's gonna come, but when you look at that schedule, comes pretty fast. So I know we talked about having some more committee meetings in January, so, but anyway.
As far as the review of the fees, has anybody looked at that at all yet? As far as where we're at and where we could possibly go, or do we gotta start fresh with that?
A little, but not very far, so we need to get into that quickly.
We're a lot lower than most of the communities around here.
So that's something that we probably need to do soon.
Yep.
Good. One more thing I want to say to Anne Marie is congratulations on becoming a grandmother.
Thank you.
Your grandmother last Thursday.
Yes, first time. Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anne Marie.
She has one more
Thanks.
thing.
I'm not here all
Yeah, she's not
night.
leaving yet.
Oh.
She's gonna do this one.
I thought you were doing
She decided she wanted.
that. Okay.
No,
I should talk less, she said.
I don't think that's how it went down.
Something like that.
Next up is another resolution, 25-R-29. That'll be the resolution approving the investment policy for the village of Peatone. And Anne Marie's gonna explain that.
Okay, so the village has always had an investment policy. It hadn't been updated for a number of years. It's really just best practice to review your policies periodically, your financial policies, and update them with modern language, better practices, things like that. So Nick and I went through the investment policy, made some changes. The majority of the policy really is dictated by state statute. We can't change what we invest in, we can't really change our duration, we can't change how we use investment managers, things like that. So a lot of it really does come from state statute. But we did clean up some of the reporting requirements. We cleaned up the kind of approval of investment part of it on who's managing the investments, who's approving them. As your kind of finance director, treasurer, I manage the investments very high level. We actually have 2 different companies that manage our investments, that decide what we're gonna, not so much what we're gonna invest in, but the individual vehicles that are gonna be purchased. They come up with a list of CDs and say, okay, we're gonna purchase these. They send us the list. I say, sure, it looks good, we don't need the funds, so go ahead and invest it for 2 years. I get Nick's blessing, and then they're able to do that. As the finance director, I make sure we get the bank statements every month. I make sure that I balance them to our general ledger. I make sure that what they said they were gonna invest in, that they actually do. But the nitty-gritty kind of management of it does, sit with 2 outside parties. I think we changed some reporting, so we'll bring some investment reports to the board more often. I think we wrote in there quarterly, unless otherwise asked for more often, so we'll be doing that. And then attached to the investment policy is the village's kind of current list of investments. It's on the back page. We did review this at the AOC meeting. We made a decision that there was about $800,000 sitting in a money market at Old National Bank that wasn't really earning what we wanted it to, so we're gonna move that money out of ONB, we're gonna put it into our general operating account, and then as soon as it hits there, we're gonna send it over to PFM for them to do kind of some laddered investing with that amount, and we'll get much better returns than what we're currently earning. Any questions?
The only other thing I would add to that, as we discussed, is our investments the interest we earn is a significant part of our revenue each year too, and last year we actually bumped up what we budget in revenue because we were doing well, but that, again, is another revenue stream that helps fund what we do here, so that's what, whenever we can leverage it and get better interest rates and earn more on the money we have on hand, that's a good thing.
Well, the other thing is we have much better funding of the police pension fund than we did
Right.
5 years ago.
We do, which is very important.
That was a big hole we dug ourselves out
Right.
of, so.
So I think you have to pass the resolution to
Right.
adopt it.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
This, and sir,
Trustee Bowden?
Yes.
Trustee Hudson?
Yes.
Trustee Richards?
Yes.
Trustee Sanford?
Yes.
Trustee Sluse?
Yes.
Trustee Stirling?
Yes.
item P, so resolution 25-R-30, a resolution approving Illinois Municipal Insurance Cooperative 2025-26 renewals. Nick, you want to explain that a little bit?
So this is, Village of Peatone, along with a number of other communities, are part of the Illinois Municipal Insurance Cooperative, or IMIC, which is a collaborative effort among municipal partners. It's a self-insurance risk management program, and the goal is to provide long-term stability in insurance while attempting to control costs. They do our property, casualty, and cyber, and they have an annual meeting where they review this. Everybody gets their renewal numbers. Obviously, we'd all love zeros or declining costs, but that's not realistic, and they told us all the horror stories of weather events around the country, whether it be fires, tornadoes, hurricanes. But for better or worse, we're at the low end of the increases. Our premiums went up 8.88%. Our program costs are 6.07% for a total of 7.76%. But that totals out in real dollars to $170,310. I do think this is a good group for us to stay in. It does manage our insurance costs as a small municipality, and there are a lot of other small municipalities along southern Will County, west of Will County. They have had some larger communities, and sometimes those don't work as well, but it's a lot of our colleagues who are at about our size are in this, and it's a good program, so I would recommend approving this. And hopefully we'll keep our claims down, so.
Any questions, comments?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion Sluse, second Sturba.
Trustee Hudson?
Yes.
Trustee Richards?
Yes.
Trustee Sandberg?
Yes.
Trustee Sluse?
Yes.
Trustee Sturba?
Yes.
Trustee Bowden?
Yes.
And on to item Q, the ordinance 25-13. Approve the ordinance amending sections 127.01 of the municipal grocery retailers occupation tax and number 128.01 municipal grocery service occupation tax of the Code of Peatone for the Village of Peatone, in Will County, Illinois. Nick?
So this, as you may recall, we passed this back in June. This was a result of Governor Pritzker legislation 2024 that eliminated the grocery tax but allowed municipalities to decide if they wanted to continue. At the time, and I didn't bring that number with me, but it was a pretty significant number for Peatone, not only for the grocery stores, but others, gas stations and things that items qualify for this tax. And so we approved that. I think it was a unanimous vote. Unfortunately, Illinois Department of Revenue, even though it was their resolution or ordinance back then, their lawyers changed some opinions and they wanted something fixed. So this is just strictly a fix on their requests. And as long as we pass it today, our grocery tax will stay in place January 1 when this all kind of comes to fruition. And our other attorney, Michael Mars, was working with Illinois Department of Revenue Council, and there was another piece of this that they didn't ask us to fix, but he knows they asked other communities to fix, so he proactively fixed that too, so that we don't have to do this a third time. So, but all this is continuing what we've had. It's not a new tax, it's a continuation of the existing tax on groceries and other things, and I would recommend we keep it because it keeps us funded. That's it.
Any questions or comments? We got a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion Sluse, second Sturba.
Trustee Richards?
Yes.
Trustee Sandberg?
Yes.
Trustee Sluse?
Yes.
Trustee Sturba?
Yes.
Trustee Bowden?
Yep.
Trustee Hudson?
Yes.
Item R will be an ordinance 25-14. Ordinance to approve amending various sections of the chapter 150 building regulations of title 15 land usage of the Code of Peatone regarding the adoption of various updated policy, building codes. Nick, you wanna explain that?
So I'm gonna try real hard, and then I'm gonna defer to some of our experts in the crowd. This is something that was required because Public Act 103-0510 amended the Capital Development Board Act and basically required certain building code standards to be adopted. We had building codes already. We were in the 2015 version, and we needed, I believe, to be within 2 versions of the current. So we jumped from 2015 to 2018 and 2021. So we're going to 2021. This has been discussed several times at the building committee. We've involved our partners with the Fire Protection District, who all have been great discussion, stakeholders. This has been led by our consultant BNF, who advised us and helped lead us through the process. And more recently, our village attorney transcribed all those changes into the ordinance that's in your packet. I might have Sean come up Sean Fellows from BNF, if he has anything that wants to highlight. I know my own experience has been, when we talk about code updates, usually everybody asks about sprinklers, but we did more than that. But Sean, if there's anything you want to highlight, or?
Yeah, basically between FEMA and the state statute, it was a change to allow for, if there was a large-scale incident, FEMA dollars are preserved when you have an updated code. FEMA wants 2, state law says 3, so we have this will give some years before you have to do anything. We cleaned up a lot of stuff, so we should also allow for an easier update unless there's particular new concerns as well. We balanced some things. There's additions for stuff like lithium-ion batteries. We cleaned up some things about wood foundations, stuff like that. Any particular questions about? It's not a retroactive code. We added property maintenance updates. This does not affect any current permits that are open, it only affects future permits. It reflects to use state statutes when they're available, so we do not create duplicate regulations as well. So the state just updated their energy code, we don't have to do anything because we already planned for that.
Just sync us up with surrounding communities.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of communities on the 21.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause
There's-
it doesn't do us any good to get ahead of everybody else.
It would just give you a little bit more time, but there's so many that are on the 21 where it's sort of the pros and cons between the two.
Yeah.
Give you a little bit more time, but everybody's asking about one or two small changes.
Sean, do you want to speak to when this is effective? Like, when does it start impacting?
So you're gonna hear about it basically, so let's just say, I think you're doing it January 1st as effective date? Or- Yeah, so basically permits submitted after January 1st, they will be applicable to. So that's no open construction projects that are going on right now, if they submit it before then. Usually it's up to the building official or Nick's discretion if there's anything that's been worked on for the last 6 months and they're about to submit and they're like, we're not gonna make it in the last week of December, we're gonna go January, and we go and say, okay, well, we'll let you use these unless there's some very specific life safety concerns that come up for it. Most projects, you're gonna already see people introducing some of these things. The energy code stuff that the state is doing is probably gonna be the more likely culprit of issues on like a new house being submitted between this week and the new year.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion Sandberg, second Richards.
Trustee Sandberg?
Yes.
Trustee Sluse?
Yes.
Trustee Sturba?
Yes.
Trustee Bowden?
Yes.
Trustee Hudson?
Yes.
Trustee Richards?
Yes.
Excuse me. Item S. Motion to approve the Westgate Manor letter of credit reduction.
Yeah, sure. So this was, many of you probably were around, John Walsh was the developer for Westgate Manor. This was started some time ago, and like most of these subdivisions, there's a letter of credit established to ensure sidewalks and parkway trees are completed. The most recent letter of credit issued on this was 2019 with a balance of $85,000, and there was 28 parcels. John probably could have come in, but he hadn't come in, so since then, there's been a lot of development there, and they're down to 10 parcels that are left on this letter of credit. So we went back and forth on what was reasonable, and in consultation with our attorney, we decided that maybe the best practice was to keep what we've been doing with some of the others. So as you remember, Ashburton, we just did at $5,000 per parcel. So the proposal is to reduce this $85,000 balance letter credit to $50,000. John Walsh actually only owns one of those 10. He's sold those to other developers in the area. But until those are built on and the sidewalks are put in, parkway trees, he's still on the hook for that letter credit. So he may be returning next fall or in the future to reduce this further. And as I mentioned, I think earlier, I had a call today with someone who's looking for lots to build on, and Peatone really liked the community, so I'm going to give her names of some of those housing folks over there in other parts of town to see if she wants to build. But the recommendation is reduce it from $85,000 to $50,000, and upon your approval, I will direct the bank to reissue a new, or to amend it to that amount, reduce it to that amount, so.
In $5,000, we'll do sidewalks and trees and stuff. Okay.
I mean, in the future, we may want to revisit that, but we think that's in the neighborhood. And this is really, as for those of you, well, you know this, but it's an insurance policy in case they don't do it.
Right.
But and for John, he doesn't own 9 of these, but when somebody comes in to build, they put an escrow for that, so they're really responsible, but since he didn't do like with the other development, we kind of transferred the responsibility to the new owner who was buying those properties, and they're responsible, so. But he was very happy, he'd be very happy if we do this, and he understands that he has a responsibility until they're built on, so.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion Hudson, second Sluse.
Trustee Sluse?
Yes.
Trustee Sturba?
Yes.
Trustee Bowden?
Yes.
Trustee Hudson?
Yes.
Trustee Richards?
Yes.
Trustee Sandberg?
Yes.
On item 8, any questions from the press? No. No questions, any correspondence, communication, petitions from anybody? There's no executive session, can I get a motion for adjournment?
Motion.
Second.
Motion Sluse, second Sturba, we are adjourned.
Aye.
Aye.